What's going on, guys? Car Review Guys here. My name is AJ, and behind us this week we have the 2023 new generation Honda CR-V. There are 4 trim levels available, 2 hybrids and 2 non-hybrids. In particular, I have the Sport Touring Hybrid, which is the top of the line, and this is all-wheel drive. You guys know the deal. If you're not new to the channel, we're going to start with the exterior, work our way to the interior, and then we're going to take it on a drive. But first, let's roll the cinematic. Let's roll. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this cinematic. Starting up front, you can probably already hear the motor from the exterior. It is a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder pushing 204 horsepower, and with the hybrid you are going to be looking at around a 0 to 60 of about 7 seconds. The battery for the hybrid is a 1.4 kilowatt, and it is powered by 2 electric motors. Your towing capacity is 1,000 pounds, and the weight of this vehicle is coming in at 3,926 pounds. Checking out the design cues and hues, if you will, you're gonna notice a sportier grille on this Sport Touring. And you're probably going to notice there's no camera up here. There's no 360 camera available on this vehicle. However, you will see there are parking sensors like there and there. The lights are LED runners and LED headlamps. Working our way around the side, you're going to have 235/55 19s, and on this Sport in particular, you will end up getting gloss black wheels, and you have gloss black mirror caps. Continuing on around, you're going to notice keyless entry. Of course, it is only on the front doors. It is not on the rear. Checking out the rear, there is dual exhaust down below, which I think that's a nice touch. There's many vehicles that do not have dual exhaust anymore. Love that they have kept that going. And this vehicle overall for the new generation is a little bit wider, and you can tell on the interior as well. Back here, you are going to notice, for whatever reason, this one light is not LED. So I thought that was a little quirky. I'm not sure why they decided to do that. I can't imagine that saving too much money. The all-wheel drive is now in the glass, which is kind of unique placement for it. It is a power hatch. You just simply press underneath the Honda symbol and up she goes. Now, checking out the rear, in comparison to the previous generation, you are looking at around 3.1 more cubic feet total, which is really good. There's a lot of space back here for a compact size SUV. The one thing that is not, there are no buttons to fold down the seats except for up there, so you pretty much have to walk around in order to lay those down, but they do lay down, and then you got storage for days. On the driver's side, you have the fuel door. It is a 14-gallon tank, and your MPGs, you're looking at 40 city, 34 highway, with a combined average of 37. All right, you guys know every vehicle 5'9". I test to see whether it's easy to get in or not, and I try to think from everyone's perspective. This vehicle in particular is around 8.1 inches of ground clearance. And the first thing that I notice opening the rear door is it opens really, really wide. So if you need that, this definitely could be a vehicle for you, because not every vehicle opens really wide like that. So that's the first thing I noticed stepping in. Like, super easy. I mean, might be one of the easiest vehicles I've gotten in to date, to be honest. Like, for someone that's 5'9", like, I didn't have to go up or down. Like, that was the perfect height for my buttocks to go right where it needed to. That was on the money, super easy. Now, while we're back here, up in front of me, you're gonna notice there's no rear pocket here. You have 2 AC vents, which is missing on the Accord for some reason, but it is in the CR-V, and 2 charging ports, which is also not on the Accord, but is in the CR-V, USB-Cs, and you do have a pocket on the passenger side. And of course, you've got an armrest with 2 cup holders. Checking out the door panel very quickly. This is pretty hard plasticky. This is a piano black. Now this is soft for your elbow, which is nice. They did a nice touch there. Love the contrast stitching, makes it feel more special. Window switch also feels more special, having the bezels around it. Looks great. This is like a hard plastic that you cannot scratch. And all down here, hard plastic, and you've got room for something, plus a tall water bottle, which is also good. Testing the front seat. I actually have to bend over just a little bit more for the front seat versus the rear, but super easy to get in. Checking out the seats, they are nice and soft, and I do love the contrast stitching, makes it feel more special as already noted. The only thing about this is hopefully you like the color, because this is the only option. You cannot get any other colored interior on this Sport Touring, so hopefully you love it. Checking the door panel, you do have 2 settings for memory seating, and the door panel is very similar to the rear. The only thing is the materials are slightly different. This is just a hair softer, not a lot, but a little bit. And then this is the same, nice soft touch, which is great. Window switches, all very similar. And of course, you have your mirror switches. There is no power folding mirrors on this. Speaking of the mirrors, it does have blind spot monitoring. Working our way to the right just a little bit further, you have your power hatch button and of course your traction control. Coming on over, looking at the display out in front of you, quirky in my opinion. They literally have split the screen right there. So over this way is a digital screen, to the right is old school analog. So definitely a little quirky for this brand new generation. I mean, the Honda Accord has a fully digital display. I do wish we had that in this. However, we don't, so it is what it is. Coming up above, you're gonna notice there's no heads-up display. Not an option, can't get it on this vehicle, which is strange because again, top of the line Accord, you can most certainly get it. So, don't know what the reasoning is, but nonetheless, just make sure you guys know. Checking out the steering wheel, all of your infotainment on the left and all of your cruise control on the right, and it does have lane centering and adaptive cruise control. Absolutely love those features. They work really well in this vehicle. Heated steering wheel along with heated seats. Up here, the screen is a little bit smaller than the new Accord, but it may look pretty similar to you. There are a few differences though. There is actually Sirius XM radio on this, not available on the Accord, which is so odd. And this one has a slightly different, even though it looks the same, it's slightly different because it's just a hair slower. Not a lot, but just a little bit. But it still works totally fine for me. Some other reviews have really ragged on this. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think it's necessarily behind times. I just don't think it's like leading. So not a big deal. Like I said, I think it works perfectly fine. Moving on down below, you've got 3 different chargers there, and actually a 4th because of the wireless phone charger. Certainly works, just be careful because if you're taking turns and stuff, there's like a little rail right here and on the other side. However, your phone does kind of slide around, so just make sure it stays there so that way you don't miss charging or whatever that you need it. but overall it does work pretty well. Driving mode there, so if we press it up here, you are going to notice we'll start with Sport, Normal, Eco, and Snow. Hill descent control, an electronic parking brake, and a very standard kind of old school shifter. I actually kind of like that. The air vents, I really do like having this little, I don't even know what you want to call it, a toggle, I guess. And then the little like honeycomb behind it, and it looks the same all the way across. I think that looks sharp, it looks elegant. Yeah, really, really like that. Coming up above, there is no optional camera for your mirror, so which is handy because you may stack things up, and having a digital mirror is actually useful, so maybe one day we'll see that. And there is a sunroof. However, there is not an option for a panoramic roof, but definitely like having a sunroof. Last but not least, checking down below, 2 cup holders, a little area there. I don't know what for, pens, pencils, key fob, whatever you want, I suppose. Checking out the center console, and it will probably stack 2 to 3 tissue boxes in there. It is a pretty good size. I think we've covered pretty much everything in the interior. Let's take it on the road. Before we pull it out, the one thing that I forgot to mention in the rear seat, I did mention it for my upcoming 5 things to love and 5 things to improve, but it's on the love list, is the rear seat. There is an additional 1/2 inch of legroom versus the previous generation, and that is a pretty big deal. Plenty of legroom and headroom back there, and that's one thing that I forgot to mention, so I had to mention that very quickly. All right, let's roll. I use the manual telescopic steering wheel column to get it where I would like it, and now we are cruising. Overall, it's pretty quiet as far as a hybrid goes. You can certainly hear the normal hybrid hum. For anyone that's been around a hybrid, you can certainly hear that. This one's no different. I can definitely hear that. Again, 0 to 60 is about 7 seconds on this vehicle, which is not bad. So let's give it just a little test here, a little brake torque, and go. 20, 40, 50, 60. It's not bad. I mean, it's not fast, so don't ever get it twisted, right? However, you're getting 40 mpgs in the city, 34 highway, and combined average of 37 for a vehicle that's around 4,000 pounds. I mean, it's certainly better than I expected. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I expected a 0 to 60 of around like the 8.5 mark, somewhere in there. It's a whole 1.5 seconds faster, so I'm very pleased with it. Let's check out the all-wheel drive system here in just a second. I'm gonna let this car clear, and then we're just going to almost hit it and get it just turning left. All right, here we go. 0 wheel spin. 0. As far as the noise levels go, you can hear the motor when you're hitting and getting it, but like right now, I set my cruise at 45 miles an hour. It's pretty quiet. The only thing that I can hear a little bit is the tires, the road noise. Wind noise you can't hear virtually at all, which is impressive for Honda. I expect that in the, Acura versions, of course, because it's the higher level, but it's really good. As far as visibility goes, checking over to our left, the pillar is actually really skinny in this vehicle, so super easy to see. Checking over to our right, the windows are nice and big, but if you have any issues, as already mentioned, there is blind spot monitoring. And of course, everyone is always like, well, AJ, how do the drive modes work? Are they good? Yeah, they're pretty good. Now, the only one I can't test and I can't speak for is snow mode. We are in Phoenix-ish area, Arizona, and yeah, we're not getting any snow anytime soon. I'm just saying. I mean, it's been like 120 degrees, over 115, and we're on like 35 days straight or something. I don't even know. I don't watch it every day, but a long streak. Anyway, can't test out snow mode. The rest of them, they work really well. Sport, as you would expect. changes it very, very well. Eco mode feels like you could have it to the floor almost and it just goes nowhere, as expected, trying to save gas. And normal is just normal. I mean, you press the pedal, you equally go down, equally you accelerate. I mean, I like the modes. I really do find myself in normal majority of the time. It's where I'm at right now. Already switched it back from sport. Suspension wise, it does feel a little bit sporty for an SUV. I mean, if you go left, you go right, it's very responsive. Of course, in this size vehicle, you have a little bit of body roll, but as expected, right? As already stated, the lane centering and adaptive cruise control work really well. And it is, I'll keep my hand right over it. You may be able to see it in this frame. I don't know. My hand is literally right on the outside of the wheel, and it's good. I mean, it stays exactly where it needs to be. One thing I will mention that I did forget, this vehicle has Bose speakers, which is, from my understanding, is different from previous generations. They had basically their own high-end system. In summary, I think this vehicle is certainly a great choice, especially if you need a lot of room in the rear, but you don't want to get a bigger SUV overall. This is, from my understanding, leading the class segment, and I can see why, because you guys know I've had all the competitors in this on my channel so far, and this does have the most rear legroom, and it does have the most capacity in the rear. I mean, it does. So that's a one thing to really note. The other thing is, it does drive really well. I mean, it does a great job. I give kudos where kudos is due. It's missing a few things. Like I said, a 360 camera, heads-up display, and an all-digital display out in front of you. Are those things the end of the world? No. It's also missing the ventilated seats. So if you can live without all of those, then check it out, because it is a really good vehicle. And again, maybe in the next year model, we're going to see all of those things. I don't know yet. Time will tell, right? But overall, I would say good things about this vehicle. I am thoroughly impressed with what Honda has done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Please hit the like button if you did. That really helps me out in the algorithm. And if you don't mind, smash the subscribe button. I mean, it's free, but you don't have to, no pressure. As always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.